Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ultimus, and it is a Vlogmas day 23. Holy cow, Christmas is 2 days away. Where did the time go? I'm doing this for 23 days, and the whole year's gone, and soon we're going to be in 2016, and it's just mind blown. Feels like every time I turn around, the days are going by faster and faster, and I can't keep up with them anymore. I'm feeling very, very old right now, which I'm okay with. Being old isn't a bad thing. How's your guys' day been? Hope it's been well. Mine was productive. Finished almost all my Christmas shopping. I've got about 5% of it left. I know it's an oddly specific number, but I'm just kind of breaking it down the way I can best understand it. So basically, I just got to get a couple stocking stuffers left, and I got to shop for 2 more people, but they're smaller gifts, so this shouldn't be a problem to get. So I'm going to have to go out. Unfortunately, though, I'm probably going to have to wait and go out Christmas Eve and do it. Which is going to hurt. I might die. I might actually die. Like, I'm not exaggerating. I might actually die. It might be my last day on Earth. Which is actually kind of terrifying to think about. People are just nuts here, especially in the shopping centers around me. I mean, I know I'm not like the only place in the world that's busy or the only shopping centers in California that are busy, but still, like, the area that I'm at, I'm just like, holy crap, where did all these people come from? You guys are nuts. Go back home. Seriously. So, hopefully I'll survive it and live to tell the tale and give people gifts. Because I would suck if not. What have you guys been up to today? Hopefully all good things, whether it's being productive or just relaxing and enjoying days off. All that stuff. Hope you guys are getting ready for the holidays. I'm trying to finish up planning a menu too for my family. I gotta decide what we're gonna do for dinner on Christmas Eve. I might want to grill something. I just don't know what. I don't know if I want to do chicken or steaks. Steaks are always a good bet though. I just don't know. We'll figure it out. I guess a lot of it boils down to what we can afford, right? That's always the age-old question. What we actually want to eat compared to what we can afford. Reality sets in. But anyways, enough of that. Let's get down to our question today. It's going to have nothing to do with Christmas. I want to know what your favorite hero and favorite villain of any game you've ever played is. They don't even have to be from the same universe or game. I just want to know who your favorite video game hero is and who your favorite video game villain is. I got to know. I'm just curious. Again, nothing to do with Christmas, but I thought it would be fun to take a swing over here to a different side of the spectrum and talk about video games one more time here. For me, as cliche as it might sound, my favorite hero of all time from a video game would probably have to be Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII. And the reason behind that is because, for no other reason other than that was the first legit JRPG I played. Before Final Fantasy VII, I played pretty much exclusively Sonic the Hedgehog and Super Smash Brothers. I played some Legend of Zelda, but I'd only played Ocarina of Time up to that point. And it was good. Like, I had so much fun. I beat that game so many times in one summer. I had the whole thing memorized. Like, I could 100% that game from memory. And I just did it over and over and over again over summer break because it's just, I fell in love with it. But mostly played a lot of Smash Brothers, and World of Warcraft I hadn't gotten into yet at that point. So when I played through Final Fantasy VII for the first time, this character caught my attention so very much, and just like how deep the game was, how much character development there was, especially compared to something like The Legend of Zelda, where you really didn't have too much character development as far as Link goes. Link was very, not empty, but written in such a way where it was very easy for you to just kind of assume the role of Link. So in a sense, like, you could almost say it was a better RPG than Final Fantasy, I suppose, because the immersion factor was so easy. Because Link was, like, he had depth and he had character, but it was very, I don't want to say two-dimensional, but it was written in such a way to where I feel like as a player, it was easy for me to step into Link's shoes because he didn't really have his own voice. He never said anything. And so it was just very easy to assimilate into that role, whereas with Final Fantasy VII, you know, you're watching this character go through and relive and relearn so many experiences and then change into this other person by the end of the game. And, you know, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't played it yet, so I'm not even going to say anything. I mean, I know Final Fantasy VII's been out for, what, since 1997, I think it was it came out. But maybe later, earlier than that, I don't even remember. I'm bad with dates. But I just feel bad if I end up spoiling it for anybody if they're playing through it for the first time. But I just remember being so attached to that character and that character development. Maybe because in some ways I felt like I could relate to that, and being a teenager and being caught between so many different places in life where I felt like everybody was pulling me in so many directions and wanting me to be this, wanting me to do this, wanting me to go here, do that. And I felt like I needed to be that for everybody. But it was just confusing and frustrating. And so just half the time just wanted to be left alone, but then not really. And it was weird, but in a weird way, I felt like for the first time I had a video game character that I kind of connected with in a strange way. Not 100%. I wouldn't say like if I was any video game character, I was Cloud Strife for sure. Because, I mean, there's a lot different about us, you know, on a level of character and development and stuff like that, which is totally fine. But I just find that the level of depth that went into playing Final Fantasy VII and how that gripped my attention so much and my love for video games. I still attest to this day, if it wasn't for Final Fantasy VII, I probably would not be as into World of Warcraft as I am. Final Fantasy VII was definitely the entry-level drug, I should say, or the doorway into getting into World of Warcraft, because it taught me to love that level of development and attention to detail and things like that. And so, I mean, for me, when I first started playing World of Warcraft, here's a noob story for you guys. I went into the main cities, and I had just gotten high enough level to go into Stormwind back in vanilla, and I went looking for the equipment vendor, like you would in a Final Fantasy, to buy your gear. That's what I did. So I bought, and I spent the barely any money I had on a two-handed sword from the vendor, because I thought that's what you did. I had no clue I didn't even discover the auction house until maybe 4 months into the game when I was playing. Yeah, like it was pretty bad. My friend laughed at me pretty hard when I told him about it. He's like, "No, what did you do? No, it's not, no." He's like, "You get gear from quests and dungeons," and I was like, "What?" My mind was blown. So that was kind of crazy. But all that to say, Cloud Strife definitely probably goes down in my book for all-time favorite video game character for sure. And the fact that he's now playable in Smash Brothers is legit. Yeah, it's pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely like a childhood dream come true. I remember saying back in the day, man, it'd be so cool to play as Cloud in Smash Brothers, but it'll never happen because he's not a Nintendo character. That's what little Tanner sounded like, apparently. That's what little Ultimus sounded like, apparently. But yeah, so that is my favorite video game hero of all time. Favorite villain? Villains are tricky for me, because I've always been the guy that just so very much attached myself to heroes. I never really fell in love too much with villains necessarily. Sephiroth was cool from Final Fantasy VII. There's no denying that. He was pretty slick. I just remember thinking, man, this guy was like so cool. He's got this massive samurai sword, and he's got that long dramatic white hair, and he doesn't hardly say anything until you get him going. Then he has everything to say and everything. But he was cool. His music was legit too, let's be real here. But I don't think he's my favorite villain of all time. Ganondorf was cool from Zelda. Kefka from Final Fantasy VI was really good too. Because, like, I feel like the key to a good villain is, like, you love to hate them. Like, they're the kind of character that you just hate and you can't wait to beat the crap out of at the end of the game. Like, you're looking forward to it the entire game. Like, that I feel like is a well-written villain. I feel like I could easily say Arthas or the Lich King, because he was so well-written. Just the whole fallen hero scenario, you know, and how all that came together, and now how he became the very thing that he wanted to prevent. He became that mind, body, and soul, everything. It just consumed him. And I think there's such a revelation of character depth and a lot of personal and self evaluation that can go on there, as far as like when you're looking at a character and what you can learn and stuff like that, and how often it reflects us so often. Illidan's cool too. I always found that I enjoyed Arthas a little bit more than Illidan. That might just be because I like Frostmourne and the whole ice and cold and frozen tundra thing. That literally probably could be it. But Illidan was very well written too, as a betrayer, but then also as someone who was betrayed as well. And I think those villains too that you have sympathy for almost too. You're just like, man, this sucks because he didn't really want to be a bad guy at all, and it's even debatable whether he is a bad guy at all. He just got put in a rough situation, and now he's got his back up against the wall, stuff like that. Like villains you can sympathize with, and then there's villains like Deathwing, and I know I'm using major Warcraft, villains as well, because that's what I've spent most of my time playing. I do have other villains that I do enjoy in games, but my go-to is usually Warcraft villains. But I mean, you look at Deathwing, and he just went absolutely mad. Like stark raving mad with power and just insanity, everything. He just lost it, went bat crap crazy, and he had the power to back it up. So not only was he insane, but he had power. So that's even more terrifying, and just this massive dragon. I love the way they fleshed him out and drew him and designed him for World of Warcraft. I don't think I could. Usually, there's sometimes when I feel like I could have imagined that dragon a little bit cooler. That wasn't what I was looking for, but just how big and beefy he was, and just the scales and that iron jaw that he had on, because I'm imagining whatever was left of his previous jaw melted away, fell off, whatever, and then just his scales and his design, the spikes, the plates on him as he's falling apart and being torn apart from the inside because he's literally being driven mad by the old gods. It's literally tearing him apart. I've made no bones about it. Deathwing is my favorite villain in all of Warcraft, hands down. Probably just simply because he's a big, hulking, massive dragon. But just that story, too, of him who he started off as a protagonist, as a hero. He was one of the dragon fight. He was the Earth Warden, or Earth Warder, and he was driven absolutely insane. And just stuff like that. It's just like there's a weird sense of sympathy in there for that. And I think those are the villains I tend to be drawn towards, are the ones that they didn't want to make the choices they did. But somehow, some way, they found themselves in a place where they, almost you could say, they woke up and realized, what have I done? How did I get here? Kind of thing. But it's too late. And then there's the psychopaths that just want to watch the world burn, and they're actually psychopathic, i.e. Kefka from Final Fantasy VI. But yeah, so I feel like villains are definitely harder for me to pick an absolute favorite. So I guess if I had to settle on one, it would probably be Deathwing at the moment. And I know there are so many other great villains written, and even in the Metal Gear Solid series, for example, I think those ones are tricky because there's guys written and girls written into that storyline that are clearly, obviously vile and evil, and then there's other ones that are just on the wrong side, or it's all about, well, this is what you've been told about them, but that's really not the whole story, and that kind of stuff. So Metal Gear Solid for sure has some great villains. I can't think of any villains from recent games that I've played, really, that I got too attached to. I don't know. So I suppose from an MMO, we'll say from Warcraft, my favorite villain of all time is definitely Deathwing, and then we'll say from any other game, I'm gonna go back to Kefka. I'm gonna have to say Kefka from Final Fantasy VI is probably my favorite villain of all time in a video game world. He has everything I think that is required for a good villain to be written and put into a story. I feel like Kefka has it, so that's that. But man, this video has gone way longer than it probably should have, and I've been rambling about video games, but apparently it's a fun topic, and I was looking forward to talking about it. So I hope you guys will partake in the conversation as well for Vlogmas Day 23. Let me know in the comment section below who your favorite video game hero and favorite video game villain is from any series across the board. Doesn't have to be from the same series at all. They can be completely unrelated. Just want to know what you guys have to say. Looking forward to it. Don't forget to follow me on all the different social media platforms that I have listed throughout the channel, from Instagram, Twitter, the Facebook page we have up, things like that. You can follow me there, as well as get in contact with me and ask me questions, chit-chat with me, make video recommendations, all that kind of stuff as well. It would be greatly appreciated. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.